I tell you who George Washington is. He is. That's George Washington's house. That's where he lived. He liked horses and cherry trees. And he loved his wife too. George is the ladies' man. George Washington pepper grinder. George Washington feather. George Washington gunpowder. George Washington army. He was racist against Asian. George Washington horse. George Washington.
Dying.
George Washington pistol. George Washington telescope. George Washington gun, sword, 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 katana. George Washington drum. George Washington ramrod. George Washington horse. Brother. George Washington water pail. George Washington slave. George Washington black man. George Washington sushi. George Washington dentures.
Says not to take.
George Washington garbage can. Food. George Washington with old white guy. George Washington with Indian. Dirty scum. George Washington doing that little lucky. George Washington dead. I George Washington. George Washington chair. George Washington fireplace. George Washington Jew. George Washington other Jew. George Washington tree.
George Washington house, George Washington window, George Washington steeple, George Washington bird, George Washington tree. This is a George Washington garden, George Washington roses, George Washington other window. Oh, George Washington Asian.
George Washington movie. George Washington caution sign. George Washington. George Washington.